Reels music.
If it seems like fake news is everywhere, it is simply because fake news spread like wildfire. Now, today on the show, I have with me a guest, someone that is well respected, a consultant, and a well renowned personality. He is a crown prince of Magongo, Ogori Magongo, a local government area of Kogi State, if I'm correct. Yeah. So he will be sharing with us lies on social media and how it can be controlled. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So, what's your take on lies on social media?
For me, I'd like to start with the fact that lie or lie, as the case might be, is the most abused word in the world today. There are positives to it and there are also negatives to it. Unfortunately, like you rightfully said, people focus more on the negativity, and that's why it spreads so much. People are quick and eager to jump at people's misfortunes, and that way they begin to add pepper, salt, onions, and the likes. And that way it kind of spreads so fast. If I might use the latest, will be the Trump situation, instigating a crowd for that violence or that riot at the Capitol because of wrong information. Trump apparently claimed that he lost the election, or he won the election by about 7 million votes, but could not substantiate it. So that kind of spread faster. But again, I just don't want to look at it and say lies, social media and all that, because the truth is, almost everybody lies. Trust me.
Yes.
You know, and if everybody lies, so if everybody lies, then the question is, what exactly is lying? You know, and we're talking about when you're being untruthful, when you're being deceitful, when you're being trying to make believe what you're not, when you live larger than life. And now it might tend into the intent of those lies, and that is where the negativity comes in. So for me, I would say it impacts because it gives a false view, a false perception, gives a wrong impression, and people kind of get confused as to what and why. And that exactly is where the problem is.
Okay, now when it comes to social media, I saw during the NSAS protest that there was this agitation on social media, and sometimes what we see, it's not actually, or whatever we see on social media is not really what it is, like as per picture. We exaggerate so much, especially in this part of the country. So would you say that social media, and when it comes to false news, social media is actually contributing to that fact?
Well, it's double-edged sword, if I put it that way, because you have to look at the intent of the perpetrators. Okay, the objective of the NSAS was meant to be peaceful, was meant to be, in my opinion, I could be wrong, but it was meant to be peaceful. It was meant to create an awareness of the kind of change that the youth wanted. However, it went to the extreme by perpetrators tweaking, twisting, and turning everything upside down.
Now, when it comes to that, sorry to cut you, when it comes to that, I would want to be very blunt. We even saw some high-ranked officials, politicians, even people that are well-renowned, twisting and turning stories that had credible evidence. Now, even these people that are clamoring for closure or some kind of control on social media, these people also use this social media platform to perpetrate some kind of errors. So, in as much as we would want to focus on the fact that these politicians, or these so-called leaders, they are actually focusing on the social media, these people are clamoring for what does not exist, they're actually doing this or that. Would you say that it is more of, okay, let me give this instance. There was this picture of this man and woman that was photoshopped. Obviously, it was photoshopped, and we could see the whole picture. But the police force came out and they caught both of them with ammunitions and stuff. So would you say that there should be a major control as to what goes on social media when it comes to both politics, both news, and both the law enforcement agency and the youth at large?
Well, thank you, because it's pretty broad.
Okay.
And if you ask me, I'm not a specialist there. I probably call myself an amateur. But be that as it may, the fact still remains that it needs to be controlled.
Okay.
There has to be mitigating policies and processes put in place. I'll give you an example, because what you said is very specific, because again I go back to the NSA story. A particular lady that was shot to have or claimed to have been shot was eventually discovered died on a bike after the accident.
Which wasn't part of the shooting.
So that led to some clamoring, even the international organizations adding their voices to it. But again, there has to be some policies, there has to be some, I also want to say there has to be some penalties. An example again is, unfortunately, Trump is going to be a case study. Shortly before he left the presidency, he was banned from social media. Why was that so? Because he violated the policies. Now, every time you go onto social media, because the rules and regulations, the policies are so small in print, people don't go through it. If you go through A to Z of that, the rules are there. Unfortunately, Twitter, as an example, probably is not applying the stiffer, or for whatever the reason is, publicity, branding, and all that. But if they go by the rules they set themselves, there are policies in place. There are ways this can be mitigated, because whether we like it or not, we live in a world where the millennials have taken over. We live in a world where the millennials are the order of the day. And all they do is social media. That's where their life is. And unfortunately, the same social media causes more damage than more good. But it is where the focus is. So if you ask me if there should be, the answer will be yes, there should be policies to mitigate against the spread. There should be reasons why we have to stop spreading the negativities and focus more on the positivities. Because again, looking at the positive side, I'll use organizations as example. They're on social media and they paint the picture that their business is heaven and earth. Yeah, and you can't see it, you can't validate it, except you engage with them. That also is another form of lying. But is it negative? I don't know if you understand where I'm coming from. I
understand where you're coming from. Thank you very much for that. Now, we saw some stories during the festive period. And we had boxes, empty boxes, people buying empty boxes and putting up on social media. Oh, gift came early. Wow, I know that has to do with my generation. We tend to live a life that is not really ours. Okay, let's take for instance those of us that work in the media firm. We live a kind of life. We want simple life, but these guys out there will not want us to live simple lives. They are always expecting something of this actor, this actress, this musician, and most of them just wish they can get back their life. Now, this thing is more like a pressure. Sometimes most of these people have to fake buying a house, fake buying a car, and fake so many things. So somebody got empty boxes and said gift came early. And a lady came on social media and said, this thing is not true. You guys bought empty boxes of Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and you were trying to display. So when it comes to fake life and the reality of we living, what would you say about that?
Wow. For me, it's again in twofold. Unfortunately, you probably notice that I keep responding with twofold because I like to always see the two sides of the coin. Now, the perception of the respondents to that lady that got boxes is a function of what is or our expectations were for that lady.
Okay.
Remember, there's a thin line between confidence and arrogance. The same way there's a thin line, the lady was probably making herself happy by saying, I've got boxes of gifts prior to when it was supposed to come, just to boost that confidence, boost that morale, irrespective of whatever message is trying to send. It could just be for ourselves, which is a positive lie. Does not make it untrue. It's still a lie, but it's a positive one because it's meant for her. Now, the other party is seeing it from a different angle, saying, I expect to stop lying. And that's the perception.
Okay.
Now, interestingly, if the other party stops at that, the news does not spread.
Very correct.
But because she keeps hammering, you're lying, the news keeps spreading.
Okay.
I don't know this musician that sang audio money. P-Square, is it P-Square or something, or one of these. It's still the same things. People live like that in their life. We're talking about celebrities, we're talking about actors, actresses who want a simple life. But for them to display or to be professional, they have to make believe scenarios that are not true. And that brings an expectation on their audience. And when that expectation goes beyond the ordinary, the moment they see them out there, they are seen as those expectations, which does not
actually,
it's true. So for me, I think it's a function of what is that perception, what is the intent. It comes back to the intent of what you're trying to portray or what you're trying to say. Because whether we like it or not, I don't think there's anywhere it's wrong for you to look good and feel good. If you tell a lie to yourself in the morning, I'm the best at what I do, which somebody like me do every morning, especially when I go for public speaking or go for sessions. I tell myself, first thing in the morning, stand in front of the mirror and say, hey, Victor, you are the best at what you do. Whether it's true or false, I told myself that has given me confidence. Now, somebody might now say, no, you are not the best, you are lying. Now, you keep hammering on the lying, it begins to spread. So for me, I think it's just the fact that we need to be more aware of the simple truth of what lying really is.
But when it comes to portraying an image that I don't have, for instance, going out there and probably snapping in front of somebody's car and claiming to be mine.
Now, for me, let me just put it, like you said, bluntly.
Yeah, bluntly.
That is a lie. It's not about your confidence. It's not about boosting your morale. It's not about wishing the person well or wishing yourself well or envy or anything. That is simply a negative lie. And that's why I say there are positive lies and there are negative. This is a typical example of a negative lie. It's not yours, so why will you claim it's yours? Unfortunately, with due respect to ladies do that a lot. And the caption goes to rhyme with it. You see ladies in front of cars, exotic cars, maybe capture awards where they were not, and maybe just passing by or something. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you are the one creating that rumor or the lie about yourself because you are, how will I put it? You are posting yourself as or presenting yourself as somebody who is not.
Okay, now you were into consulting. If I come to you as someone that needs consultation, when it comes to me as a celebrity, most times what we do is not what we want to do, but what our fans expect of us. Most times. So because of that, most of the celebrities tend to try to up their game and upgrade their standard because of the expectation. So what advice would you give to such people going through such pressure? Because I believe it's people that are pressured that can actually try to switch their normal life. Okay, I don't have a car. It is not wrong for me to be working on TV and I don't have a car. You don't need to see me inside a bus and embarrass me because I am driving in a public bus. You understand? Outside the country, it is not the same with this part of our country. This side of our country expects a whole lot from celebrities. They feel like we have everything that it takes to, being that you're a celebrity, you should have cars, you should have all the money. And because of this, we see most of our celebrities, they are being choked up. So what advice do you have for them?
For me, again, I'll re-emphasize the fact that there's nothing as good as being your simple self. You need to be as realistic as much as possible, and I think the media also needs to do more in terms of creating an awareness of the truth about who they are. Now, sometimes you look at some magazines, at some functions, you see celebrities coming in glamorous. Now, anybody saying that will say, hey, I'm a big fan of that and I aspire to be that kind of person. So without understanding what that person is going through, what that person is worth, and you now probably go do things you're not supposed to do because you want to be that
measure
person.
up, yeah.
So again, it's a function of, hey, slow down. This is who I am. This is the real me. And celebrities need to reach out to their fans more. They need to engage more. Maybe, I don't know, maybe through social media again.
Okay.
That maybe in their real life, in their simple life. Just put it out there. This is me in my simple life. Not the glamorous you see on TV, not the glamorous you see at functions and all that. This is just simple me. Yeah, you're walking the street, just put it on Instagram. I'm walking the streets, going to the bus stop. Then people begin to realize, as against you are going to a set,
yeah.
and you are in a glamorous exotic car and you are posting that.
Yeah.
People will forget that you don't have a car. Because every time they see your message, they see your pictures.
Your simple lifestyle.
You understand? So it's just the perception that you create. And that's why I always say everybody lies. Because everybody wants to look good. There's nothing wrong with looking good, but it's a question of what is the intent and how is that message passed out there. You know, if you target, for instance, today dressed because of a business meeting. Yeah? Somebody will say, okay, maybe it's
because he's having a business meeting. Yeah.
Tomorrow, bus stop, waiting for a bus.
Yeah.
Now you understand. So
Yeah.
people can read that, okay, yesterday, okay.
Today, yeah.
But today, business meeting, tomorrow with the king of, day after with the governor of, the minister
so there's so
of.
many expectations.
So again, you just raise the expectations of the fan of your audience, because an average one wants his idol to be doing excellently well and to be up there, so he can keep looking towards that. So well, I don't know. I have a mentor who is Austrian British. Very simple, very, very, very simple. As a matter of fact, his most expensive tie is valued at about $65.
Okay.
And he's very rich.
Wow.
And I asked the question why, and he says, what is the purpose? The moment I start going that route, who says it won't hurt me on my finances? So all his posts reflects that. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
You understand?
As against somebody who is wearing a $1,000 suit, and he doesn't even have that kind of money
in his account.
So again, for me, I still believe it's the intent behind it and how the message is passed across. Because remember, the day you become glamorous, the day you become famous, expectations are heightened.
Okay, so I want you to advise people that have created a kind of image about themselves which is not actually true, and they can't come out to ask for help. For instance, someone that let me use this example. There was this interview I went for, and there was this girl that was always telling me, we finished from school together, and she was always telling me that she's gotten a job in a very big firm, she's working as this, as that, and only for me to get to that place, and we were among the queue, like, for the interview, and I'm like, what's up? She tried to cover up the lies, but I would want you to advise people on being real and being original about everything that they do.
Trust me, it's very simple.
Okay.
Attitude, they say, determines altitude. As long as you are simple, you are just being yourself, yeah? People will come to your aid. Don't forget, no man is an island. Because a lie you tell today will not stop until you stop lying. Simply because one single lie will call for hundreds, thousands of other lies to cover that single lie.
Yeah.
So why are you lying when you can just come out and say, this is me, I need help? I used to work for an organization where we tell every new employee, if you need help, don't ask, just shout. Don't ask. Because if you ask, somebody is busy, might not hear you. But shout, I need help. Trust me, if you come on here, if you go on social media and say you need help, people will come to you. I'm not going to mention the artist again. I know that on a weekly basis, on a weekend basis, especially Saturdays, it gives out lots of money.
Sure.
Every Saturday, it gives out lots of money. Incidentally, it's one of my favorites, and that's what he does. And he does it seamlessly. He's traveling, even at the airport. He gives money to aged people, the less privileged. Just come out and say who you are. Just be who you are. That's the only advice I can give them. Stop pretending to be who you're not. Because who you are is a gift from God.
Thank you very much, sir. Join us same time next week on Real Life Gist on Beret TV, and follow all our social media handles showing on your screen. And don't forget to always share, like, and leave a comment for us. We hope that your views and your comments will help us get better and do better. Follow all my social media handles at Melissa Josie. Melissa Josie on all social media platforms. Thank you very much and have a swell day. And don't forget to stay safe. COVID-19 is still out there. God bless you.
Tèmi ní tèmi jẹ́jẹ́ kí n lówó kí n gbáyé ṣe.